This is just for recording purposes. But this is a new thing that we're trying to bring. It's really experimental for us. We're having a panel talk, and we brought some really good people out here to give us some insight on the community and what's going on outside and surrounding our community. So let's just go down the line and introduce ourselves. Tell us who you are, where you're coming from, what your dance experience is, and all that good stuff. All right? Cool.
Okay, so my name is Connie. I'm 16 years old, and I'm a B-girl, and I break dance. And I started when I was about 9 years old, and it's kind of weird how I started, which was I started by watching YouTube videos. And from there, I started to try to copy the movement, and I got it down really fast. And from there, I just got better and better, and I finally found people near my area that I practice with, and that's EndoFX, which is Johnny Boy, Adrian, and Link, and much more. And then I started entering battles and stuff. The mic was right in my face. I started entering battles and adult battles and kids battles and stuff like that, and then from there it just grew. So yeah, here I am today.
My level's good. All right, I'm Extra. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I was born in Rocky Mount, but raised in Durham since preschool up. So I'm gonna just claim Durham, right? North side to be exact. But yeah, I've been dancing. People say, what's your experience, right? People like to start when people know you, but I start my experience when I started dancing. And the earliest move I remember is 5th grade. My best friend since 5th grade was like, bro, I remember when you hit your first wave. So that's why I started at 5th grade. But obviously, I did it before that if I could already wave, right? So you're just playing with it like everybody else. Didn't really know what it was. I watched a lot of cartoons growing up, like everybody. We have cable, so it was Fox 50, 22, if you get the antenna right, WB. And after cartoons would go off, it would be either the S Club or Soul Train. So I was obviously watching Soul Train. And that's why I was seeing these B-boys and I just do all these crazy moves. And I really wanted to learn how to break dance first, believe it or not, or B-boy. But I was chubby, and I didn't know there was chubby B-boys back in the day. So I said, let me try something different. And I seen popping, and I thought that was tight. And a lot of chubby poppers, so I said I could do it too. So, and from there, I just fell in love with the culture, man. And a lot of people say, what's your deep story? It really was just I say boredom and creativity. I was just in the house with nothing really to do. I just stuck to it, and it never let me down. It was never a reason to stop. So here I am today. Fast forward years later, battling in high school, battling in college, started a dance league. It used to be called Greensboro Underground Dance League, GUDL. Now it's called Concrete Division. I did it not because I thought I was the one to do it, but when nobody doing it in my area. You know what I'm saying? If you've seen a void and no one's there to fill it, if you can, go ahead and try. So now I've become somewhat of a leader of the street dance movement because of that reason, and that's me. Yeah. That chord is dangerous.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Hello, my name's Elliot. I started dancing in college, so I know a lot of you guys are collegiate dancers at App State. Oh, entropy. But basically, yeah, I started in college. I had no dance experience before that, but I did watch YouTube videos, K-pop music videos. I was like, oh my gosh, they can dance. And that's kind of where I got interested in it. And then after that, I finally started learning in college. After my collegiate years of dancing on teams, I started pursuing just training outside of that. And then I entered the professional dance world 2017, late 2017. So I'm signed to an agency right now in Atlanta. I'll be moving there soon, so if you guys visit me in Atlanta, hit me up. We could dance all the time. But yeah, I travel all the time back up here anyway, so we'll be vibing. With that being said, I don't want to box myself. When people ask me, oh, you do this dance, I'm like, no, I'm just a dancer. I don't say I'm a hip hop dancer. I don't say I'm a this dancer. I do train in every style. People don't know that. I've taken ballet, I've taken tap, I still take tap. I train in all these different styles. Even within street styles, I do train in different foundations, right? So with that being said, and actually, this dude, I don't know if he remembers, I was at the Underground one day, and you were just sessioning, and I asked you, and you taught me a couple moves to get up, get down, and we were vibing for a little bit. Do you remember? Yeah, at UNC. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I try to train whenever there is opportunities, especially when I'm like not too busy traveling because I'm always traveling. I do train in every style, so I don't box myself in to say I'm an industry this type of dancer. Like, even within the industry, you have to learn jazz. You have to learn how to do street styles. You have to learn all these different things. So that's my background. Started in college, so it's about 6 years, I think, and now here I am.
Hey everybody, it's nice to see y'all faces. Oh shit, that's right. It's nice to see everyone's faces. So my name is Olosu. I started off dancing when I got to college. Didn't dance before that. Watched ABDC, like tried to learn off of like YouTube videos, and it was when I got to college I started off breaking. I joined like a breaking club at NC State. So I joined a breaking club at NC State called the Breakfast Club. And I was doing that for a year. I always wanted to do urban choreography, or better just yet, just choreography. And I then found fusion at NC State. I was really scared to try out. I was tail at the time, but I went ahead and joined. They needed guys, so they let me on. Anyways, so I've been doing that I did that for 4 years, and my last year became the artistic director / co-choreographer for the team. So that was a really fulfilling experience. And then once I graduated, I went into being the season 3 director for Prism, which is a North Carolina dance workshop series, which hosts monthly workshops in the Triangle area. So now I'm on the advisory board for it, because now we're moving on to season 4. And right now, freestyling is really my main passion, and just learning more about like the culture about dance. That's really one of the drivers behind why I dance right now, is just knowing that there's a whole culture to every street style. There's a whole world to it. There's a whole history to it. So getting to know the culture, getting to know the style is a huge reason why I dance now. So, yeah.
Let's try to like that. Put it together in a combo.
Can we roll this up? Is that cool? All right. So we are going to. So this is a discussion, y'all. This is really open-ended. I have a couple of questions that we'll really start it off with. Is this okay? Probably not. Yeah. Sorry.
That whole sentence was
Okay, well, yeah, we're going to start this off. This is a discussion. I'm going to start off with some priming questions, and then we'll take it from there. Please feel free to ask questions as you see fit, all right? So the first question I have for y'all is, how do you promote yourself in the dance world? Anybody can take it.
I'm not coming from a street dance background, right? It's a little different how we promote ourselves. It depends what you want to promote yourself to, like all things, right? First impressions are the ones that are everlasting. So however you carry yourself as a human being and you want people to see you is the same way you should promote yourself as a dancer. You shouldn't separate who you are as a human versus who you are as a dancer, because you are a human dancing and you are who you are. So promote yourself that way, right? Now, when you say promote, talking about getting booked for gigs and businesses, you have to learn to put yourself, like in anything, this works with all business, put yourself in the right places, doing the right things or whatever you care about. Let's say you want a position, you want to move up to be a manager at McDonald's. You got to be in front of your manager. Look, I clocked in early today. I flipped 100 burgers. Can I be a manager? Same with dance. Go to the places that are looking at people. Use your social media. Curate it. You have to be a curator of your life. You have to market yourself what you want people to see in every aspect. In street dance, a lot of times we market ourselves for respect, right? Like a lot of us is broke, to be hot with you. And it's mainly because we battle, because we have that respect. We want to say we're good. So we market through battling, by coming up with characters and names and these aliases. And then we say, all right, I'm going to give you these rounds. And then how we do our style, and then how we put out our footage. Then when we go to the mainstream, sometimes they water it down. Sometimes they have a specific artistic direction. But you as a dancer, as an artist, get to choose what you want to be seen as and what you don't want to be seen as. Don't let a bill that's going to be there anyway change who you are. So market yourself based on what you want to be seen and known as. Yeah. Anybody else?
Just going off that. No, he was really spot on. So basically what you're saying, the latter half of it is basically branding, and he's making a really good point. And right now, like, I don't like this discussion just because like I have so many things to say about it in terms of like social media. It's a blessing and a curse. Like, it's good for us because yeah, you get exposure, but at the same time, like half the time, people that do get the exposure, it's usually not the people that a lot of the people within the scene are like, yo, they deserve that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I would say social media, it's good for you guys to use it as a tool to get your stuff out, to get, you know, exposure. At the same time, don't get caught up in it. Don't let social media be like, this is the reason why I'm gonna go take this class, or I really, really wanna enter a battle just because I want footage so I can post it. Like, don't go to dance events or do things dance related just for the sole purpose of videos. I mean, if it's like an artistic vision, you guys want to create a dance video and there's an actual intention behind it, that's completely different. But if you're like, I just want exposure, make sure you guys are doing things for the right reason, if that makes sense. So yeah, but he made a really good point. Like, you have control over your social media, over how people around you see you. So be aware of that. And then within like even like the professional like dance commercial industry world as well, yeah, it's ultimately not about who's the best dancer. A lot of it has to do with the way you look. Yeah, actually, it's sad, but half of it is the way you look, and then half of it's who you know. Then the other like 0.01% might be talent. So there's just a lot of things that go on outside of just dancing. So just make sure you know, like, it's social media and branding is important, but you have to stay true to yourself, because being yourself is what's going to stay booked. You might get booked because of your look, but if you're a horrible person, you're going to get cut and you're never going to work again. You know what I'm saying? So he's literally made the most solid points, like, be you, be as good of a person as you can, and that's going to translate into everything. Yeah.
So not to ride the piggies back too hard, but I'd like to expound upon the whole being yourself part, because everyone else is already taken, and this is a cliche, but if you invest in yourself, then you'll be the only person that is you. So when someone wants your style, or when someone wants you, or when someone wants what you're bringing, you're there. And if you invest in yourself enough, you're the best person at it. So investing in yourself, I feel like, is a great way to promote yourself. And I also think investing in yourself to actually be of quality, because sometimes I feel like, this personal opinion, sometimes people promote, but yet the quality isn't necessarily there, and it's not much to promote. But you know, they're very much like pushing a lot, but what are you actually advertising really? So sometimes people just kind of push for the sake of like the numbers, for the Instagram followers, but exactly like, is what you're promoting actually good? Are you actually good enough to get that job that you think that, you know, you're worthy enough to like promote for? Not worthy enough, but I guess qualified enough to promote for. So that's one point. Being yourself is key. I think making genuine connections, more so the genuine connections. Sometimes people think that getting to know everybody and getting to know people who are the most popular, you know, people who have the most status is the way to go. Where I honestly think that if you just find that one person in the room and that you're genuinely interested in their style, interested in what they do, have a conversation with them. It's not necessarily about getting to shake every hand in the room. It's about getting to know that one person. And then sometimes it's kind of building upon that relationship. So it's not about trying to get to know everybody, but getting to know people at a genuine scale. And you'd be surprised at how many people that you connect with in that way remember you for it. And you don't know who they know, you don't know who they're connected with. But if you're yourself, if you shine that like beacon that is you, then that person also knows about that, knows that about you, right? So if they hear about a gig or a job or whatever, they're like, oh, yo, you gotta go to Rob, because you know Rob's a real cool dude, and that may be the person to get you the job. Not necessarily all the tens of thousands of connections that you know, but maybe just that one. So genuinely investing in the people, I think, is a big key too.
Okay. So I'm pretty much like with you on that one. Like, a big part of it is just like connections and stuff like that. But also like people who know people, it's like, it really gets you like places, but yeah.
Like to the Olympics.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I think at a young age, like, I still don't really know like much about that. So like sometimes, usually when I do gigs, it's usually like with my crew and stuff like that. But yeah.
Thanks. So I didn't make it. Don't give me the props. I did not make that question. Yes, I just asked them. question for y'all, second one. Do you ever have second thoughts about having a career in dance or even majoring in dance when you were here? Like, do you have any regrets? Yeah, how was your relationship with dance? What's it like?
Okay, I'm okay.
Oh, you go ahead.
So I think my relationship with dance is like still evolving because I'm still in school and I'm like still to the point where I'm like most likely going to college and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if that's exactly what I want to major in. But right now it's something that I really love and I do in my free time because I used to not like just dance. I used to do sports like soccer and stuff like that. So that would take up most of my time and I would always be tired. But now I decided that dance has become a big part of my life. So I think the next step would probably be college and like what I want to do and stuff like that.
Education.
Yes.
Get that degree.
I would say this question has to start by what like are you saying, what is your relationship with dance? If dance is a major to you or a career to you, then to me, it's a little lackluster. Dance, first and foremost, is an art. I'm about to bite somebody that I know, right? Biting is bad, but the guy told me art is A-R-T, a righteous thought. So if I have no money or if I have all the money, I'm going to still dance. So I'm never going to second guess my dance. I might second guess this technique. My arm swings might be bad, you know what I mean? But I'm never going to second guess, do I love dancing? There's doctors and dentists who dance. So I think you can make a career out of it, but understand what you're good at to make a career out of it. You can still dance and not be the best dancer. Dance is an art form, it's a community, it's a life on its own. Maybe you're good at clothes. I want to make clothes for dancers. You're still making a living through dance. I want to be a lawyer, entertainment lawyer, because dancers get dicked on deals all the time. So let me go and be a lawyer for dancers and actors and in art. But remember, dance itself is an art. So to second guess an art is to second guess, in my opinion, a way of life sometimes. So I don't second guess dance because I'm going to do it no matter I have anything or not. But I may have to move things around of how I'm going to make money through the culture. Now, I think making money with it is different from, second guessing it. So,
yeah. I love going after him because it just like flows, But yeah, like, okay, so I'm in the exact same boat as him. Like for me, and this is like, I'm gonna get real in a little bit, but I'm gonna start with saying like, for me, dance is life. Like,
facts.
That's what I name. I have an intensive I throw every year. It's called Dance is Life Intensive, And like, to me, it's actually my life. And I'm gonna be really honest. Most of you guys are probably all in college. I took 6 years to graduate college when I came in with a whole year and a half of credits. The reason why is because I literally didn't go to class, dropped out like 3 times. Parents didn't know. Obviously, I'm Asian, so my parents are like, you gotta get and my parents are both PhDs, so they're super smart. And then their kid is not, going to class. They didn't know. But I finally finished, right? And the thing is, like, the reason why is because dance took over my life. Like, and that's what I'm saying is, like, I was so passionate about it. Like, I'd never done anything. I played basketball, thought I was going to go to the NBA, And I was like, I hit 5'8", I'm not growing anymore, I'm done. I played music all my life. And then in college, dance is what took over everything. So since then, like, I just fell in love with it. And there's some connection with dance that I couldn't explain. It's just I loved it no matter how bad I was. Like I was so bad, but I loved it. And I was like, so since then I just worked my butt off, and I never, in my honest opinion, I never thought that a career in dance was possible. I just danced because I loved it, right? And about 2.5 years in, I was kind of like, okay, I don't know where this is going. So then spiritually, I didn't know either. So I actually prayed to God, and I didn't really have a relationship with God at that point. But God, literally, I asked him, like, give me a sign, like, please, like, if this isn't my, like, path, your purpose for me on earth, then please give me a sign and I'll quit dance. Like, I was so serious about it. And then God gave me, like, the most obvious answer. And part of it was, like, my parents' approval for dancing. And that, I just bawled my eyes out. And a bunch of other signs he gave me. And since then, like, I was like, okay, like, I think this is where he wants me to go. But a year or two later is when I finally understood the purpose for it. And it's basically the way that I can touch people with my craft. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's why Extra made a really good point. Like, for me, like dance is who I am. Dance is my lifestyle. Like I do it all the time. It's everything, all I think about. It's part of my identity. But the way that I've been able to use that art and that communication to touch someone, you know, it can be through social media. It can be me dancing in a room full of 300 people, but one person can come to me and say, I just want to let you know that watching you gave me so much joy, and I've been going through this really depressive state, but I'm really happy watching you dance today. Something as simple as touching that one person for me it means more to me than any money. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, the getting real part, like money doesn't come easy for us dancers all the time. Yeah, it's a lot of us are gig by gig. If you're a professional teacher, you still have to, you know, book the jobs as a teacher. So it's not easy. And I'll say if your intention of I want to become a professional dancer is because you want to make money doing it, it's going to be that much harder. Like I promise you, it's going to be that much harder. I would do what I'm doing for free because I did it for free all the way until the point I started getting paid for it. You know what I'm saying? It was never, I want the money. The money will come because I put so much into it, you know? And if it doesn't come, that's fine. I'll find other things to do. But I'm just blessed enough that things are working out. But with that being said, if you do want to take it to a career, you have to put in 1 million hours of work. Like you need to put in behind the scenes work that nobody else sees. Yeah. But yeah, just made a really good point. Dance to me is life. I'll do it for free. Just make sure it's a pure reason. Yeah.
Do I have anything to say?
So good. So good.
What was the question again? All right, fair enough. Dance is such a huge part of my life that without it, I get pretty sad. And I tried to test the waters by not doing dance because I wanted to focus on school. It was during the time where my grades were slipping, and I was like, okay. At the time I was an engineering major, not anymore. And I remember not doing fusion, which was a dance team that I was on for a whole semester, and my grades even got worse. So actually taking myself away from dance just kind of brought down my whole quality of life. And not to make it the number one thing, make it a life source, but it's definitely, I'm not gonna say I can't be happy without it, but I can't be my full self and I can't be my full being without it, that's for sure. So because of that, it always has to remain a part of my life. And even though I'm probably not on the path of, even though I'm not on the path and don't want to be, I guess, an industry dancer, I do want to still compete in all styles battles. And I still want to travel the world, and I still want to know my culture and know my foundations enough to one day be able to teach it. Because I know that I can't live a life without it. It may not necessarily be the number one thing in my life, but since it's so integral to me, I know it has to take some part of my life. So, yeah.
I like these vocabulary words, integral.
Yes.
I'm gonna say juxtaposition in a second. Fuck all y'all.
Cool. So now we're going to open up the discussion to the audience. If y'all have any questions, now is the time to ask them.
My question is, what style or aspect of dance do you find it hardest to initiate yourself into, from where you started?
So his question was, just for the cameras, what style did you find really adverse, hard for you to get into? Yeah.
That we currently do? Yeah. Actually do it.
What aspect of dance too? Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Hold on, I'm gonna need this thing.
All right. One of the hardest things I think is b-boying. B-boying to me still is one of the most physically hardest dances you're gonna do. Just because you gotta hold yourself in places that don't make sense. That's why I said I'm never. Y'all watching me top rock? That's it. I'm never going to the ground. I'm gonna stay on my feet. 'Cause I can top rock, but b-boying, I think if you look at it, and I'm talking about from street styles. I'm not speaking on ballet or anything in point, kind of that's crazy. But for street styles, b-boying to me is as far as physically, the ballet version of dance, and it's very hard because athleticism you got to do. Crump for me, when it first started, because it's a fairly young dance, it was attractive because it looked free. It just looked like the ultimate emotion that you can release. But then Crump decided to evolve and actually get like foundations, and then there was a way to structure it. So for years you've been throwing yourself like a fireball at the track and like, this Crump, and the Crump is like, nah, it's not. This is Crump the right way. And then like redoing your foundations is the hardest aspect of dance in general. And then especially something you knew, but I think refinding your foundations is the most difficult for me. You want to?
Okay, I know mine now. Mine would probably have to be like popping, because like even though like I mess around with it sometimes, like I'll be looking at like poppers on YouTube and stuff, and they're just like doing all this crazy stuff with their body, like Animatrix, like he's crazy with it, and I'm just like I couldn't move my body like that. It's crazy. But yeah.
I have a lot, because I mean everything was tough for me, but I would say one of them, the most difficult, was ballet. For me, it's because like I started ballet like years in after I started just learning how to dance, period. But then it's like relearning things, you know what I'm saying? Like it's realizing how important it was to every aspect of dance. Like even learning how to spot, or you actually engaging your core correctly, you know? Making sure your shoulders are in a line, actually knowing how to point. I thought pointing was just going like this, but I didn't realize you have to turn out and sit like, oh. But yeah, it's like there's just so much with ballet. And I remember we just did bar, just releves, and I was sweating and my butt was cramping. Like it was tough. And like for me, it was like being like worked so hard in dancing and whatever, and then starting at such a beginner level, something like that, that was so humbling for me, you know? Same thing with like getting into any street style culture. Like the culture is what's so challenging. It's like, it's not just you go, you research the history and you learn it. Like you have to live it. And I think that's also a tough thing for me, is like, I went out to some jams here and there, shamrocks here and there, like, and I have friends that are in the scene, and I'm like, I love watching them and vibing with them, but at the same time, I'm not immersed in it fully. So I find that very tough to like go all the way there, because I respect it and I appreciate it. But for me, it's like based on the specific focal points I have right now and what I'm trying to work on, it's like, it's really hard to enter into that realm for me right now. So, and freestyle in general too, the freestyle culture, like it took me 4 years since I started dancing to actually just even start feeling comfortable with freestyle.
Nice.
And now I'm doing it all the time. I go in the studio, I don't even use the mirror half the time. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna get this corner and just put my headphones in and just dance. Sometimes I dance outside. Like it's literally, now I went from like taking so many classes to I want to dance by myself and just freestyle. But it took me 4 years to just even try it, because it was so difficult for me to get into. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up freestyling as its own thing, because for sure that one was, freestyling as a whole was very hard for me to get into. I was always very nervous and always low-key thinking about what other people thought about me when I was freestyling, when I was in the middle of a cypher. And then it was a very long process and road to get to the point of just not caring, and also knowing that you don't have to like impress anybody. You're not in the cypher to impress, you're in the cypher to share. So that as a whole, so that was more of like a mental, I guess, barrier, as opposed to like one that was like physical, or like one that like I needed to like stretch for. And to answer like the original question a little bit more, is any style that doesn't really speak to me. And I say that by like, I feel like everybody's probably, if you do dance and if you do love dance, I feel like there's gonna be a style that's just going to move you and you won't even really notice it, you'll just start moving. So like when I first started like hearing like house, for example, that's where it really clicked for me. So like I would try to do other styles, I try to do locking and popping and even breaking as well. But when I started hearing that like deep house beat, like, dum, 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 my body just naturally started going to it. And that's where I found like, oh, like when you do find a style that does speak to you, yeah, maybe the other styles were a little bit more hard to get into, but that's because maybe they just didn't resonate with me as much. And I think that's because I'm Nigerian, and a lot of the times when I'm listening to the African music, it's doom, tika, ta, doom, tika, ta, doom, tika, ta. So that's why house has resonated with me, and that's why it just flows. So any style that didn't really like, I guess, yeah, that didn't resonate with me, it was hard to get into.
Hey, let's talk.
Crazy.
Cool. So question was like, probably the hardest aspect of dance that we've currently been going through. And when I think of currently, I think at least for dancing within the past 2 or 3 years, because you can't really gain much in a short time unless you're practicing 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. So for me, it has been turning my thought process off when I dance, when I freestyle, cause learning muscle memory, like increasing that ability to just like know, that comes with time. You can do that all the time, but it's a matter of turning your mind off and allowing your ears to just be a funnel to hear the music. That's been the biggest challenge, and it's still kind of hard, because when I go into the cypher and I'm not feeling it, I'm like, oh, I'll do this move because it makes me feel safe. No, that's when you start doing whack shit. But you know, it can turn into something great. So yeah, definitely like turning your mind off and allowing yourself to just like have that visceral movement, and trusting your body has been the biggest challenge for me. Cool. I actually have a question for y'all.
Oh.
How do you train? What is your training regimen like?
Oh man.
All right, who wants to go first?
Okay, so I am talented. I'm gonna be honest, I have not trained in a good minute because I've been like sick. I've been sick, but like I would say usually like I would like try to practice every day, but I would get tired from doing that. So like I would say my training schedule for like, I'll give you like for the Olympics, like I would, like when I was going to Japan, like my crewmate Josh would like condition me, stuff like that. So like drilling moves, like 6-step, 5 push-ups, 6-step, 5 push-ups. And then I guess like practicing, so like a good like 4 times like a week, just like 2 times conditioning and then the rest just like practicing. But yeah.
Now, I can tell y'all, bro, it's just a shirt, bro. It's just a shirt. I can tell y'all how you supposed to train or how I actually train. All right. So what you're supposed to do is like anything in life. Dance is life, bro. So I can't say that enough. It's like anything in life. How do you get at anything? You break it in part. I used to sell cars, and they said, how you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. So you break, I know, right? But it was a tight line. I liked it. So you break it in parts. What is your weakest foundation? It's footwork. Then you need to go look up footwork and train the footwork. Even if it's a 2-step, start with that 2-step for a whole track, maybe a whole album, I don't know, a whole track. Then think of different ways to change that 2-step. Everything comes from a basic. So you start with the basic of whatever foundation you're doing, and you build and you build and you build. Same with ballet, I'm sure. Like you say, your butt hurt on releve. He ain't even get off the bar yet. That's like basics, right? Like turnout is like difficult. Like it's the same thing. So you start with the basics. One thing I do like about ballet is I love, instead of watching actual ballet perform, I love watching ballet train. Like I literally will get on YouTube and watch like New York Ballet train. And just the way they structure their classes is like, all right, this is all foundation. Now we're going to do choreo, or what we would do in freestyle. Now I'm going to work on my combos, or I'll work on hat moves, or I'll work on a series of how I'm going to put this foundation together. And you do that for weeks at a time, months at a time. And when that's down packed, you move to the next one. Like you said, it takes time to get good. Now what I do is not that. But I do think about it a lot. I do believe in mental labbing. So really think of something, like drill it in your brain and then actually do it. But not in real time, like practice it at home, obviously, right before you hurt yourself. But and do it. And I believe in practicing everywhere. So like I do subtle stuff with muscle memory. So you'll see me sitting down, I'm just like, okay. You know what I mean? I'll literally just do that. I'll literally be in a grocery store line, getting off, and people look at me, I'll just stop. And like I didn't do nothing. And people look at me crazy. I'll look at them like they crazy. Like they'll be pop, maybe 3 seconds, and they'll be like, I just look normal, like I didn't do nothing. And that's like all the time. And there's a dancer named Aya Sato. She's an Asian dancer. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Aya and Bambi. They were doing like hand elements out of like Bogan, and the choreo was crazy. And she had a clip of a workshop, and she was like, yo, I do dance everywhere. Like, Vogue is a very character-based style, very feminine. And she was like, I'll be brushing my teeth, I'll look in the mirror, and when I look in the mirror, I'll go, pump off. You know what I mean? Little stuff like that. So little things like that help with your freestyle and muscle memory. And I think you should do that everywhere, right? I look at people's feet all the time, especially ballerinas and stuff. You'll see them like just standing in line, like practicing like turnout and stuff. I'm like, you dance? Because your ankles is like different. They're like, yeah. So it's little stuff like that. That's a great way a great thing to pick up on your foundations, but then you actually need to train and drill your foundations how Connie does. That's the way you're supposed to do it. But we getting old now. So
Wow. All right, before we start, I have a formula that I made up. This is my formula for growth. It could be in anything, but I use it for dance. There's 3 elements to it, 3 variables. For me, I only knew of 2 at the time, which is why I got really upset when I didn't see growth after like so long. But since I started, and Elijah knows this formula, it's hard work, or it's like intensity. So how hard are you working? Like, are you putting in the actual focus and mental focus, the physical effort into it? Number 2 is frequency. How long are your sessions? How often are you doing it? Like, how consistent are you? Those are the 2 I did. So since I started, like I'm telling you, freshman year, first time I started dancing, until about 2.5 or 3 years in, I danced 3.5 hours minimum every single day. I learned one piece, I did the same piece for 3 hours straight because I had nothing else to do. Like, that's before, like, YouTube was starting to pop off, but like I didn't know how to learn things off YouTube, so I just would practice the one thing I knew for 3 hours straight, and like I still was horrible. But the point is, like,
I did it.
Yes, exactly. And the 3rd element I didn't realize, right? So I was so upset. I was like, I've been doing this for 2.5 years, but I see this person that's just a freshman coming in, never danced before, they're already better than me. I'm like, how is that possible? Like, I don't get it. I'm working so hard. The 3rd element was time. Like, you have to realize that it takes time to do it. So when you compare yourself to someone that's like, oh my gosh, it's so good, you have to realize, like, they probably worked harder than you or more consistent than you. Maybe they didn't, but maybe they did it for a longer period of time. So you have to, don't compare your journey with anyone else's. Realize that what you can control are how hard you work and how often you do it. So frequency and consistency, and also the intensity. Make sure, like, those 2 things, if you want to really, really, really get better at it, up those as much as you can, and the time it takes will shorten. Does it make sense? That being said, like, yeah, I mean, I was crazy. Like I said, I like failed out of classes, didn't even go to class. I would just train and dance all the time. At the same time, working out. I think it's important for dancers to work out. Hey, homegirl, she be doing all the stuff. It's like, yo, you need to be strong. Like, do you see all these people? Like, no, seriously, like, I'm trying, we trying. But, like, working out helps so much. Same thing with like stamina. I know all of us can say stamina is a big part of our thing. I jump rope, running. I don't know if people swim. Like, it's very important. Breathing, yes. Breathing is something I struggle with a lot when I dance. So stretching. There's a lot of things. There's so much more. And then Extra made a good point. Like, dancing or training in dance isn't always just about physical stuff. Like, the mental aspect of it is almost, I think, more than 50% of it. I personally think dance is like maybe 60% mental. And there's like the emotional and spiritual part of it. But mentally, there's so many hurdles you have to get over. And like, for example, one of them is not comparing yourself with other people. Like, I think it's a good thing to have competition, to have people to push you and be like, this person is making me pull up, and you're inspired and you want to be better, just like to push each other. But you shouldn't be like, man, like I suck and this person's amazing, and then start getting all down about it. Like Alyssa was saying, you're your own person. You have your own journey, your own path. So don't compare yourself with other people. At the same time, don't care what people think about you. He's in line, like,
Facts.
Facts. Because he loves it. She be in school, like, in the bathroom, Yeah. So, like, you need to stop caring what anybody thinks about you, whether it's your peers, even in the freestyle circle. I know some of you guys probably scared to go in because you're like, I don't want my friends to think I suck. It doesn't matter. Like, you need to get over that. That's, like, the biggest mental hurdle is caring what other people think about you. Because once you get over that, everything just becomes so much easier, So.
Y'all set me up to have a whole speech right here because y'all are really like hitting on some stuff. So really, like when you said stretching, that resonated so much because I always wondered why I was so stiff and like why I couldn't hit certain angles, why I couldn't bend a certain way. I wasn't stretching. Like it's basically like if you get meat out the freezer and you try to bend it, it's going to break. So you have to warm it up, put it in some water, let it defrost. You feel me? So like you have to let it sit overnight. So or I mean, yeah, you can try to like nuke it in the microwave and defrost it, but sometimes it takes time. So really like stretching your body and actually like taking care of it, like going to the gym, it helps so much. So if you want to get your hits bigger when it comes to popping, yeah, like it, you know, repetition is key. But also, if you're more powerful, the pops will also be more powerful. So it's like actually focusing on your body, not just the dance itself, will improve the dance like twofold. It improves stretching and like flexibility in your muscles, improves your movement quality like nothing else. I'm telling you. So you don't even have to dance to become better at dance. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because if you're using your body to dance, then if you focus on the body, then what comes out of the body, which is dance, will get better, right? So that's facts. What was the other one? Oh, something. Oh, break it up. Eating the like elephant. What do you say? Piece by piece. Yeah. So breaking up dance, not just physically, but also you can train your listening, and that will up your dance. So I'm not necessarily the best at like being like the deepest in the pocket, and that's a whole nother conversation on what that even is. But in terms of just like putting on a song and just training like how you react to it, just have a whole session where you're just listening. Then you have a whole session where you're just hitting one beat at a time. You're just having a whole session where you focus on getting over being nervous in front of people. So just ciphering and just not even necessarily doing moves, but get comfortable being in front of people. So it's just, there's different ways to train as opposed to just training a specific foundation. Sometimes it's about just training your anxiety when it comes to dancing in front of people. Sometimes it's training your flexibility. Sometimes it's training your listening. Sometimes it's training your patience. So you really got to think about dance past just one dimension of just physical movement. Sometimes it's also the mental aspect behind it as well. So, yeah.
Actually, I have one more thing, last thing. Train smart.
I was about to say this.
Yeah,
I was like,
because
train smart.
I think
You
like
hurt yourself training.
exactly. There's like listening to your body, listening to your brain. At the same time, don't make excuses. Like if you're like, oh, I don't want to dance today, but it's like it's just because you're lazy. Like that's not an excuse. But like if your body's like hurting and you're like, oh, maybe I should stop. Like don't overdo it. I had a broken like toe. I danced on it for 6 months, and it took that long to heal when it should have taken 2. Could have ended my career. So that's what I'm saying. Like, just be smart about it. But also, like the classes you take, like make sure you're going in with the mindset of like, what are you working on, or like be specific. At the same time, like vibe with people. Like I think it's so important to learn from other people, and don't be comfortable. Like don't just do everything your way, because in that sense, like you're not really learning anything. You're just like, oh, you're copying someone else's movement, but then you're doing it your way. You know, I think it's important to try or attempt to learn something in different ways so that you can explore your movement of your body. And then once you understand that, then you can be like, oh, well, I know how to do that, but I'm gonna be able to do it my way because I can. Don't like make it comfortable for you just because it's not comfortable the way they do it. I would say like try to master the way they do it in a way, or learn how to do it, and then you can choose how you wanna do it. That makes sense. So it's a little weird, but be smart.
Ooh, more questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna just say one thing. And this is something that I learned from his name is Castro. He's a popper up in New York. And this is something that I learned from Extra too. But the first thing I learned from Castro was that music is a distraction. And so when you try and train to music, you're just dancing. You're just dancing. Like drilling, there's a difference between training and like and dancing. Like you have to know what your body's gonna do. You have to be able to get to a point where you don't have to think about it. It's just there. And so what Castro said was train in complete silence. He said, I train for 2 hours and I'm just dancing. Like I'm just like doing popping drills for 2 hours in mad silence. And then when we get to a point where we know our body, we put it to music. And then you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is how I want to hit the move to the music. And to break it down, Extra always says, you know, You got to learn the mechanics of movement first before you delve into a style,
That didn't sound like me.
which is so true, so true. But yeah, cool. Any other questions? No?
I got a question for you all.
Oh.
I don't necessarily want to answer right now. Right? I like to ask questions and let people think about it. And everybody in here who's a dancer. So when we begin to talk about making a life and career for dance, right? Ask yourself, what void does dance have in your area, and how can you fill it? If there's a bunch of events going on, we don't need another event. If there's a bunch of classes going on that are good, we don't need more classes. What are you good at, and what can you give to dance? What is your connects? That is how we dance, but how much do we give back to dance? You think us dancing is enough? Right? Like, you think us just like, oh, I can dance. Dance is like, bruh, I know you can. I gave you this. Right? Like, what are you giving back to it? So ask yourself that when you're talking about, I want to be a career dancer, I want to do this, I want to do that. Ask yourself, what can you give back to the dance in your community? And if it's life, you'll be surprised how many aspects of life will go into your dance. Fill that void, man. That's how you become a leader. Yeah.
Question.
I have a question specifically to you.
It's like being Asian dancing.
I know, dude. That's true. I'm about to tour doing that, teaching kids.
Mostly, yeah, it's mostly because of, I started dancing when I was in college, and then like I fell in love with it, so I've been dancing for like 4 years, going to classes and everything. And there was a point in my life where I was like, I should probably dance because this is what I love. And but so like I came to talk to my parents, and like you know who that,
Yeah.
to get the whole situation, the whole situation well.
Yeah.
And then right now it got harder just because my mom passed away.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. So like, I had this dream that I really want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a reality.
Yeah.
How did you go on?
Dang, that's tough. I would say definitely in my situation it was a little different, obviously, but I mean, I had to lie to my parents all the time. Like, I had to lie, like, that I was training. It was obviously tough. I would say the reason why your parents, like, there are, like, I want you to do this or that, or they don't see dance as, like, you know, a possible thing, is because, well, first of all, their generation. And, like, honestly, we have to be so thankful to them because they came to America for us, right? And, like, they kind of sacrificed their life so that we could have a good one. So it's just at least understanding, like, they're not saying no, don't do this because they don't want you to or they don't believe in you. It's like because for them they just want you to be happy, and to them it's making a lot of money, and financially being stable, as you know, is something that's gonna make your life easier, you know. And I think the point that it took my parents to realize, and I think a lot of parents, especially being Asian, it will take is them to realize how serious you are about it. Because a lot of times, like, you know, you have phases, you know, like a lot of parents, like, you're like, I want to be a firefighter when you're younger. I thought I wanted to go to the NBA. I was like, I'm going to go, Dad. You don't believe me? I'll prove you wrong. You know? So it's like a lot of times you have phases where you believe like you really want something, and your parents see that all throughout your life. So then at that point, they're like, oh, he says he wants to dance. Oh, it's another phase. Like, they're assuming that it's a phase. But until they realize that it's actually like, this makes you happy and this is what you want to pursue, and they see that you're passionate about it, that's the point that they are going to support you. Because as a parent, like, they really do care about your happiness, and it's not just about money. And I think with that being said, like, in your situation, like don't give up. That's the main thing. It's like, make sure like you keep working for a dance and doing that, but at the same time, like, the balance is the toughest part, you know. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, how am I going to, after I graduate, start making money? Because like, to get into this like whole dance thing, like, even when you get in, it's like booking jobs is not so consistent, and like, it's just getting to that point, it takes some time. So just balancing, you know. So I would say keep training as hard as you can. We could talk more outside of this too. Like, I answer any questions you have and like give any resources, but just keep working, don't give up. And I don't know if you're spiritual at all, but you know, maybe I pray to God and ask him for help, because that helped me a lot. So yeah. Like, without God, I'm telling you, pinky promise you, without God, like, I wouldn't be here. Like, I feel like if I didn't give up my dance to God, then I would probably be doing nothing with it, you know. But just keep working hard. I would say don't give up. Okay, I believe in you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
Probably be the last question here.
So I likely started dance in college, and I'm actually not a dance major. I'm a biology major with an intent in medicine.
Yes, bio.
My dance.
And I kind of didn't really think how to impact the dance community through what I want to do. So I wanted to ask you guys, from a medical perspective, what do you wish was available to dancers?
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
She said she is a bio major and she wants to know how she can give back to dance, and as dancers, how can she give back through the medical field, right? The medical profession. What do we need?
What's not available in the medical field that you wish was available to dancers, like resource-wise?
I don't. One thing. Well, insurance.
Oh my.
Like, I don't think that, all right, we get enough insurance.
Hurt on the job.
Meaning like physical therapy for dancers. They're there, right? And you probably know more being signed. I don't know, but like street dancers and stuff like that, it's us. Like I'm in boots. I was in boots top rocking. That's horrible. Like, dude. So yeah, Tim. So it's being more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? More of a presence in the cultures that aren't so, that they don't have the money, right? Like being that presence and being a holistic presence if you can. I'm not against Western medicine, but there's a lot of things. You're going into holistic, so definitely, a lot of that knowledge is like hidden unless you like woke or whatever, right? So bringing that to the events, like I said, ask yourself, what can I bring? That is a great thing. We need shakes, smoothies. We need like knee rubs, massages, whatever you can do that's good for the body. Even that education on a platform in which we can learn how to heal ourselves. I think that is missing in a lot of dance that don't have the finances to cover that. I mean, I've been in a West African dance troupe that did like West African ballet, and we ain't had no insurance covered. Like, so just that insurance of knowing how to take care of ourselves and being a presence in that space.
I don't know, Los has something, but real quick, I would say, like, on that note, like, education, I think, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of dancers, especially if you think about, like, the collegiate dancers, that's, like, a lot of us start, nobody knows about it. Like, I didn't know that dancers needed to get, like, massages and stuff like that. Like, just in general, I didn't know how important our body was. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna dance every day, 10 hours a day, like, take class and then cramp my leg up, then go to the gym right away to work out again, then go dance the next day for 7 more hours. Like, I'll do these things without rolling out, or, and then I finally, like, when I started talking to my friends that were professional dancers, they were saying, you need to go and take care of your body. If you don't, you're gonna see a toll on it, So I would say, like, education for dancers, and I know it's not specifically with, like, the medicine stuff, but it's like, I just feel like we should learn, like, nutrition-wise, like, what's good for dancers. I know some people, there are things like that out there, but just in general for, like, a lot of dancers within our communities, like whether it's the street styles or urban choreography, whatever, like knowledge and education about how important our bodies are and maybe what nutrients we need or what things we can do to benefit and grow as like our bodies, So.
These are at events with that knowledge.
Yo.
So soccer players, professional ones in like the English Premier League have these, I don't know what they're called, but they have these systems on their back where they have, it detects like their, I don't know, their blood pressure, like their heartbeat, and they have these nutritionists that are around them that keep in mind and like keep record of everything that they eat, everything that they do, all the exercises. And I'm pretty sure they probably have that in a lot of other professional sports leagues as well. Well, the point I'm trying to get at is that the coaches will make decisions based off of what that like pod and what those records say. So if the pod is like, okay, this dude is basically at like 75%, if you do play him, know that he's dehydrated enough to the point to where if he does play for 20 minutes, he'll probably pull a muscle. They have it down to that. So like I wish there was something, but that thing's probably like expensive as hell. But I wish there was something like even close to where like people, even dancers themselves can go and access it so they can know more about their bodies. Because people can say stretch, eat well, sleep, and all that type of stuff, but you'll kind of pass it off to the side. But if there was a system that said, no, look, you are at 60% because this is what your body's giving me. It says that your heartbeat is this. It says that this is this. If there was something that actually gives people facts, then people are like, oh shoot, no, like I am at 60%. I do need to take care of my body. I do need to do this. So I wish there was a system in place that could actually, almost like how you play like fighting games, you have like the little HP bar. I wish there was something like that almost that kind of can basically alert you to like what your body needs to do in order to be at optimal level. Because everyone's had those times where they're dancing or doing any physical activity where like they feel really pumped, they feel good, their knees aren't aching, but there was something that you did to get to that point. So I wish like we were more knowledgeable of like what we need to do exactly to get from 60% on the HP bar to 100%. So yeah. So I know that's kind of ambitious, but something like that. So
When you are needed, that's needed.
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
You're the future.
Woo, that'd be great. Oh wait, I think she had an answer.
I would say like to what all them said, like at events to like serve like certain stuff like the dancers need. Fun fact, my dad actually teaches biology, so yeah, that's cool.
I dated a bio major once.
Okay.
I mean it like that. No, I'm just saying I know one.
But
I'm just saying I know one.
yeah, I would say like massages and like also like people like tell you like what your body needs for like everybody. But yeah.
Everybody comes to you, they give you massages.
Awesome. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank y'all so much. Thank you to our panelists for coming out, y'all. Thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate
Got me
y'all.
behind the mountains, boy.
Cool.
Breathe up.